And welcome to another episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. I am your girl, Divina, and I am so glad you decided to tune into this week's episode of the Divinely Crowned Conversations podcast. I have not done this in a few weeks. It's been a few weeks since I've done a interview, so I'm actually excited to, get back into interviewing, get back into podcasting. Just been taking some much needed rest and self care. So tonight, though, I am excited because I have somebody pretty near and dear to my heart. Her name is Miss Chatiqua. And I'm excited for us to have this divinely crowned conversation. But before I have her introduce herself, I just want to remind everyone who's listening, watching, to make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to Divinely Crowned on Facebook, Instagram, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the things, as well as my website, because I just updated it a little bit. So just make sure you are tapped into the queendom as we continue to grow. And we already have our first two people. Marie Love said, hello, beautiful queens. Hello, queen. And Lamario, hey, I'm so excited. Hey. Hello. So yes, like you guys know, I love to have my people in the comments commenting because we chat back to you. So just make sure you are interacting with us and we will interact with you. So without further ado, I'm going to let my divine guest introduce herself. Chatiqua, why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chatiqua Keys Carr. I am the proud owner, actually, of Nila's Dream Daycare Center, LLC. It's an in-home group daycare that just opened last March of 2022.
I love it. And she being all modest, like we ain't got a lot to talk. Yes, I own but we are going to definitely dive into who Chatiqua is. But before we do that, I always like to kind of highlight how I know my divine guests, which I've known in some way mostly all my guests so far. But for Chatiqua and I, we met in high school almost.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Sean Vincent.
We are colonels. Yes, colonel babies
for life.
So we just always hit it off. She was just this sweet angel baby.
So she says.
Yes, sweet. And we'll get into that too. She was just this sweet woman, young girl, and I was just like, oh, she's so sweet. And Chatiqua was actually older than I am by a few years. So I was like, she was like my big sister, my cousin. And then there was another girl, which is actually my cousin Jessica, that we used to call each other the triplets because we were always together, kind of favored each other. So, and just
crazy.
Yes. we have stories, but just through not just high school, but even into adulthood, we've always stayed connected in some way, whether it's years later or months later, we've always stayed connected. And so I'm like, I have to highlight Tigua because you've had a beautiful journey and I know some of your journey.
Still on it.
Yes. And we're always still on it, but we definitely, I just wanted to highlight you and all you've done this far. So, and I know you got a lot of wisdom. Okay. So, like Divinely Crowned is all about talking about the journey of where we come from, where we're at, and where we're going in life as we're growing in our queendom, which is our life. So I always like to start at the beginning with who was Miss Young Chatiqua?
Oh, that is a great question. All right. So Chatiqua was a fire starter.
Oh my God. I love that.
No, seriously. I had a lot of anger issues growing up.
Wow.
Since I was 11.
Okay.
I tried to actually commit suicide when I was 11. I was very young. It was after my grandpa had passed away. He was very close to me. He was like the only male figure in my life. Okay. Like I have a dad, but he was my dad. That was my mother's father, but my grandpa was my everything. And when he left, my dad literally came back from jail, and I'm just like, I was happy at first, But then I wasn't too happy because I started to see, like, you know, my mom drifting away from me. And me and my sister always had my mom. And for me to have her for those 11 years to myself, and then bam, my dad comes back like, oh, yeah, no. But yeah, and then I got kicked out of school because I tried to, you know, kill myself at school because it didn't happen that night when I tried to do it. So I went to school, and I'll never forget it. It was one kid in my math class at Wilson Middle School. And I was like, I will pay anybody to kill me. And he was like, how much? And I was like, $5. He was like, I'll do it. And right then and there, I felt like, you know what? My life is only worth $5. I don't think I need to be here anymore.
Wow.
So, you know, that was very deep for me. I had to go to AEP, and everyone's like, AEP? You went to AEP? I said, yep, Percy's house. I was there for a whole year, my whole 6th grade year. Actually, no, into my 7th grade year, too. I didn't get to come back to Wilson. No, I came back to Wilson 7th grade year. And got kicked out the first day back because I slapped a girl in her face.
Like, I wasn't ready to fully come back yet.
Like, so. I was, but I had earned a lot of friends who were not good friends for me at that moment. So I wanted to always be a part of that crowd.
Yeah.
And I learned, you know, if I just do what they say, they'll be my friends forever. But then it got to a point I kept getting in trouble. And my mom was like, if you keep getting in trouble, you ain't gonna get this, you ain't gonna have that. And I'm just like, whatever. Like, friends are more important than what you're saying to me, Mom.
Wow.
But then one day I literally sat down. I was going to the 8th grade, and I was like, God, I'm done. I said, I'm tired of being bad. I want to go to Collegiate Academy. So I want to get honor cards. I want to be an honor student. So my 8th grade year, I definitely changed that. I made sure that happened. The people I hung around, they're like, oh no, don't hang with Tiqua, man. She ain't about that no more. And it's like, oh, that's what's up. I'm glad y'all respect that. You know, like, that was easy.
Yeah. I should have been with this.
No, seriously. But, you know, I didn't get accepted into Academy. And that's how I came about coming to Strong Vincent, because I got accepted to their Honors Academy. So I was just like, oh, it's not Academy, but it's an Honors Academy.
Yes.
But then even in high school, you know, I had my problems. You know, I've always been big chested growing up. So I got a lot of attention from the boys in the wrong manner. But then when I had my little first boyfriend, not gonna say his name.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah, you do. But, you know, I was so young. I was 16. I was so excited. I had a boyfriend. My mom allowed it. He drove, you know, I was like, oh, I got a boyfriend. We got a car. He drive me to school. I thought I was on top of the world.
Yeah,
but it was so much drama. And Davina, you know how much drama I went through with that situation. But even getting suspended from there to the point where they tried to expel me. Like, I don't know if you knew that. But, like, when I got into that fight with her, they suspended me for 3 months and only suspended her for 3 days.
I do remember that.
And
I do remember that. Wow. Now that
and then, like,
I do remember that.
And then when I came back to school, you know, Mr. Brazenton was the principal at that time. He was like, Chatiqua, if you come back here and you start something, you're expelled. No graduation, no prom, nothing. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, prom, graduation, none of that. So I came back to school the first day, and I'm in the office, and Mr. Brayson was like, that's it, you're expelled. I was like, for what? He was like, you came in talking stuff to that girl. I said, I didn't say you're a liar. I know you said it. And I'm like, what? He's like, we have it right here. I said, ask my homeroom teacher, which was Miss Kennedy, and I loved her.
Kennedy.
She was like the most stylish teacher we had at Strong Vincent.
Miss Kennedy, OG Slayer.
Yes, always. I haven't seen her forever, but I'm pretty sure she's still the same.
Yeah.
But Miss Kennedy came down. She was like, Chatiqua didn't even know the girl came into the classroom. She had her head down the entire time. Called the girl down. She was like, oh, I thought she said something to me. I was like, he was like, go to class, Chatiqua. I was like, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, no apology, no nothing. But it's okay, because again, that pushed me to become a better person. That pushed me to make sure, you know, you have to graduate. If you got one person trying to defeat you this bad to where the principal wants to expel you, and I was an honor student. I was a hall monitor for 2 periods. Like, come on, like, I'm a good kid. It's just I didn't know how to control my anger.
So before we listen, she talking about she's a fire starter, and she's already came into this whole conversation so hot. I'm like, I'm gonna let her finish, but we're gonna have to roll this all the way back to the beginning. I said, oh, she's coming in real hot already. I was not ready for all that. So I want to go back because you are, man, there's so many things I already want to pull out of that. And I got Marie, she said, congratulations, baby, when she talked about it. And Lamario said, this is so overwhelming. I'm excited to hear. Oh, I love it. I just love how he's been on it since I posted that you were going to be on there.
I know, I saw that.
Yes. So I want to roll back real quick. Not real quick, but I want to roll back into this journey. First of all, 11. Wow. I definitely want to talk about that, but I want to even go back a little earlier because you talk about you grew up with your grandfather until you were 11, and he was a big part of your life, only man in your life. So even that dynamic of being raised from what I'm assuming birth to 11 by your mother, and then your grandfather was a big part. So how was even that growing up from those first 11 years with having your mom as pretty much your rock? You're like, it was us and us against the world, and then dad comes back. So how was that?
Well, like, okay, so my mom she's still my rock, but I had also my sister, my sister Megan. We're 9 years apart. 9 years and 3 months.
We'll get into that too.
And because I had my sister who was older, she was also like a mother figure to me because my mom worked hard. You hear that typical single mom story of, they work 2 to 3 jobs to keep food on the table and all that. And it was like, we had food stamps up till I was like 5 or 6 years old. So then like I never knew more about welfare until like years later. Like my mom really pushed to make sure she made that money so that she wasn't on welfare any longer. And I always looked up to that. But at the same time, like I missed a part of my mom sometimes. But I had my sister who, in a sense, kind of substituted that. But we had grandpa, he would give us candy and we just loved it. He was just a big teddy bear that we loved so much. And when he got sick, it kind of like threw me off because, again, I was young. It literally like, and I tell myself all the time, like, I feel like I blinked and my grandpa was sick. It was like 1 minute he was sitting up front watching TV, my grandma giving him a kiss for their Valentine's Day present, to bam, he's in a bed. Like, wait, what happened to grandpa? How did he get sick? And then for him to go the way he did, it broke my heart. It shattered me in a sense, because I'm just like, the only man that loved me is gone. So now where do I go from here? So it's like me and my mom are very open with each other. We've always been very close and very tight. People used to make fun of how close me and my mom was. Like, Chatiqua tells her about everything. She probably tells her when she has sex. So I'm like, shush, it's not like that. But it was like, there's things, I didn't want to keep from my mom because, again, if I don't know, I'm going to ask the question. And of course, I may get yelled at for asking the question because it came to my mind or I did it. But I still needed to know. And I'm grateful that I had a mom who, yes, she was upset, but she still, okay, too, well, we need to do this now since you did this. Like, I'm not happy. You don't punch her for like 5 years. And it's like, dang, I should never say nothing. But I wanted to know. So it was.
Oh, that's so good.
It was crazy. But, like I said, having my mom and my sister, that really shaped part of who I am.
I love it. And like even you just saying that, you told your mom everything, which I know you have always been close to your mom.
Literally.
But being a young child, a young girl, and being able to feel that safety of telling your mom things, asking her almost anything, telling her almost anything, and knowing she might not like what's going on with me, but she never, it's almost like, I guess she never made you feel like unsafe to tell her, or like nothing was off limits that she wouldn't still love you.
Right.
Almost not saying like, oh, other parents that, people don't feel like, oh, I can come to you, don't feel that love from their parent. But like, I'll be honest, growing up, like, I didn't always want to tell my mom everything. Like, I was like, I know I'm gonna get in trouble, so I'm not telling her.
Right.
And it wasn't until I had children where I really kind of told her, let her into my life fully. So for you to be able to be young and saying that, like, that's a huge deal, because most of the time, kids in their adolescence are not telling their parents anything. They're talking to their friends and things like that. So for you to be able to have had that, that's a powerful thing. That's a good thing.
I could say I was truly blessed with that, because, it wasn't the same if I didn't have her to tell that to. And I'm happy we had that connection. But, as I get older, It's not as close as I want it to be now, because my mom had like a medical issue that transpired. But I still love her, and like again, I thank my sister because she's a big part of helping.
I remember you being very close
she's
to her too.
a big, huge. Like I have separation anxiety from her.
Wow,
it's bad.
Wow,
I turn into a toddler when she goes away.
Oh my god!
No, seriously, I go through, like, when she moved to Texas. No lie, I was working at St. Vincent Child Care Center, and I came in angry, throwing stuff, and they were like, "What's wrong?" It's like my sister's gone. She's gone, and I was like, "Did she die?" I'm like, "No, she ain't died. She went to Texas," and I was like, "Oh." So like my coworkers felt so bad. They bought me flowers and chocolate. Oh. I'm like, dang, am I this much of a big baby? And then even like recently, she went out of town to go pick up her grandchildren, and she was only gone for like a day and a half or 2 days. And I was going through withdrawal. I'm like, oh, my sister gotta come back.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, I can't do this.
But that's even. I mean, separation is you grown, but it's okay to be able to have that type of bond with your sister and your mom is a very special thing. It is. Very special. And so listen, we laugh, but that, I mean, your family, even your coworkers, like, wow, that's a beautiful thing. Let me get her some chocolates and flowers to
make her feel a little better.
No, listen, let me look in the comments. Is it Raylina?
Yes.
Okay. She said, beautiful. She said, so proud of you. Lamario, I'm enjoying. Chatiqua, I want you to know I'm so proud of you. I can't even explain. But just know I'm glad you've been a great role model for me.
Aww,
is a blessing. I love you, Zay. And we have Megan. Hi, sister.
Hi, sister.
She said, yes, woo woo, here I am. Listen, she might have had separation anxiety if you didn't jump on, Megan. Right? So thank you for being here for her.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you talk about, growing up and having these close women in your life, and then you said your grandfather passes and your dad comes back into your life after not ever being in your life. So can you kind of take me through that journey a little bit?
So when I first found out my dad was coming back, I was excited because again, like, oh, my friends have dads and now I finally get to have a dad too. And the first time it was great because I'm like, yes, I get to learn who he is, learn about him. But then after a while, like I said, I started to see that he was pulling my mom away from me. And then he would tell me things that you shouldn't tell a child. And I'm just like looking at him like, you know what? So I got mad to the point where, as some of us kids have done, like, you're not even my real parent. You're not my dad. And he was just like, he's like, that's fine. I was like, when I find my real dad, that's who I'm going to go live with. And he was like, all right, go live with him. Yeah. And it's just like, and I would tell my mom, like, why is he here? Like, my sister was always my backup too with that. Yeah. She didn't care for my dad that much either.
So she was your rollie.
But then I had her side of the family, her dad calling me his daughter. So I was like, all right, that's my dad too.
Yeah.
So it's like I always had her side as well. They treated me as if I was their own as well. But it's like it was hard. Like again, it went from being happy to like, get out of my life. Yeah. Like, I don't want you here. Yeah. And I feel like he was there for about 2 extra years. I want to say until I was like 13 or either until I was 12. He stayed there. But it was just like, it wasn't for me. Like, it was fun in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It's like a honeymoon phase. Like, oh, we're so in love. I'm so happy you're here. And it's just like, now it's like, okay, now you can go. Yeah. I don't need you.
Wow.
Like, just go.
Wow. Yeah. And I can't imagine. Like, I kind of like, I mean, obviously movies are movies, but like you see those movies where it's like the person comes back into life and it's like, you're not my dad or you're my dad. And then it's like that try to find that bond. And sometimes you can't and sometimes you can. And it's like for you're like, listen, as long as I got my mom and my sister, I'm good. And that's okay. And that's like, what would you tell maybe somebody who might be going through that or has gone through that you've learned from that experience, if anything?
What I did learn as I got older with it was you can't choose who your parents are. As much as we would love to say that, as much as my mom would joke around like, you're not supposed to be in a family, you should be in a rich family. I'm like, oh, well, where that rich family at? But it's like, it's hard, especially when you're young and you don't have a lot of people to look up to, especially in a male figure, like, especially when you lose the one that was close to you. It's like, well, now what do I do? How do I know what true love really is? Will I ever be able to recognize it? So what I could say to that person is, you have to find you. And of course it's hard. It took me years to figure out, who is Chatiqua? Who are you? Who are you supposed to be? For the longest I couldn't see that. And then it's like having the men that I did have in my life. Some people are like, well, do you feel you have that because you have daddy issues? I'm like, I don't feel like I have daddy issues though. I just feel, yes, my dad wasn't there, but I didn't seek males to be in my life because of that. Because I did have a good male figure. That was my grandfather. Yeah. It's just, he passed due to, health issues. I can't control that. Yeah. But it's hard. But the most important thing that helped me was literally God. Because when I was 11, like I said, I tried to commit suicide. Yeah. But before that happened, it was one day after church, and I'll never forget it. I was sitting in front of a TV in my bedroom. And I was like, God, I want to know more about you. And when I said that, it was like the devil woke up and was like, oh, snaps. She about to find out who she is. All right, let's go. We got some work to do. We got some work to do. Like, no, like seriously, like literally, that's how it felt. Because after I said that, I lost my grandpa. Then my dad comes back. Then I tried to commit suicide. And the thing about the way I tried to do it was, I'm a wild sleeper. Like, I'm so wild. I wake up with scratches on my body. Oh my God. So I know I scratch myself in my sleep. Yeah. So I first tried to, stab myself in the bathroom, but then my dad had to use the bathroom. So I put the knife underneath my shirt, and he didn't even pay attention to me. Like, I literally was holding it like this. He didn't even pay attention and be like, what's under your shirt? He just was like, are you done? Yeah. Walked in the kitchen, got some tape, taped the knife around my wrist. Wow. Went to sleep. I woke up alive. I said, are you kidding me? Wow. That literally, I had my hand so close underneath my pillow, it didn't move. And I'm like, and that's not me. I don't stay in one spot. And my sister, no, I walk in my sleep sometimes. Oh, wow. So for me to actually wake up alive, I was disappointed. I was angry. Like, what? I'm not dead? And then my mom put me in this most hideous outfit. I mean, and this is why I say it's hideous, because it was my aunt's hand-me-down. Oh, wow. Now, my aunt was born in 1950. So just imagine what them clothes look like, walking up into Wilson Middle School at my age with a jumpsuit on from the 1960s, probably is where it came from. I was embarrassed. So I'm like, see, I really want to die now. Like, I'm about to be made fun of when I go to school. But, to go to school and to realize that my life wasn't worth it, it was just like, I just really need to die then. I don't want to be here. And when my sister found out, she was pissed. I can imagine. She blamed my dad, and she was just so angry. And I can just remember we were at the hospital. It was at Hammett before they did all the reconstruction and everything. And we were there sitting there, and they're like, she's going to have to go through counseling. And I'm just like, for what? Like, I'm hurting, but it's not like it's going to do anything. I'm not going to talk. And I literally did not talk. When they put me in counseling the first session, I literally sat there probably for an hour. Wow. And they called my mom back, and it was like, she's not going to talk, and we're not going to make her talk. So we're done here. And I went to AP. So I'm like, hey, we done here. I ain't got to talk. We good. Let's go. Like, wow. But I wasn't done. Like, I had so much anger built up in me. And I felt I took that out on the people I was around. Because I couldn't take it out on my family. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't take it out on my mom. Like, that's my mom. I love her. Like, I would never try to cause any harm to her, no matter how angry I get. But, like, I was so angry growing up. Like, people would say one thing, and they knew it. Just like, look, hey, call Tiqua fat. Watch out how mad she get. Oh, my goodness. I'd be sitting there like, Tiqua with your fat ass. Here, eat some cheeseburgers. And I get up and just flip a desk. Like, it didn't take much to get me angry. Wow. Like, legit, it did. You're not. So sweet. I just can't even. Like, I know you was a little rowdy in high school, but like even if you guys, y'all hear her soft-spoken voice, and it's like, for you to even be saying this is like, wow. Like, I knew, but I didn't even know this like about legit, you. Yeah, it's crazy because like I look at my life. And I'm like, but God, like
But God.
for real, like literally, I'm like, yo, I'm here. I'm meant to be here. I am here for a reason.
Yeah.
But the thing that really taught me that I was here for a reason, my mom told me a story when I was a baby. And she was like, I remember I was giving you a bath in the sink because, you know, that's what they could do.
Yeah.
Now we do it, but we don't do it to that extent.
We don't have to do it.
Yeah, we don't. We got the luxury tubs now for these kids. But she was like, you were in the tub and all of a sudden you stopped breathing, you turned blue. And I don't know why. Like, I got you to the doctors and they don't even know why to this day. But then you started breathing again, but we never knew why you stopped breathing. I'm like, I turned blue. I was like, stop breathing for real, for real. It wasn't like no simple, all right, we're going to pump her back. I was blue.
Wow.
I said, I didn't know black people could turn blue. Like, someone was like, oh, so you an avatar now?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But when she told me that, I was like, man,
wow,
I'm meant to be
You're
here.
meant to be here.
I was like, okay. All right, Ma. So what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah. So I want to real quick first. We have comments, so I gotta highlight. Tanisha Jones, Tiqua with the hearts, and then Ray. Say it again, Raylina. Okay, she did the laughing emojis. Megan said, "Hey, right, always." Literally. We got Kay. One of my. Oh no, she can't. Kenya hasn't been on yet, but her sisters have. I was going to say one of my divine guests. She said, hey, queens. Hey. And Marie, she asked the question I was going to go back to ask. She says, why was you so angry?
Okay. So why was I so angry? Honestly, I felt I was more so angry because I don't think people heard me. I don't think I was heard. I don't think I was seen at times. Because, like I said, my sister was there. But we're also 9 years apart. Right. You know, she got her friends, too. Yeah. And then my mom, like, she had her friends. She was working. Like, I played with, you know, fellow church people or whatever. But kids are cruel.
No, they are.
When we around each other, oh, my gosh. We say some ridiculous things. And then another thing was I didn't feel like I was beautiful. Because, again, like, I had a big chest. So, like, boys would, you know, touch my chest, you know, sexually assault me, harass me. Like, back then, you didn't know you could use those type of words to justify what was actually happening to you. You know, I got called so many names, like, oh, she a hoe, she's not a virgin, that's how her titty is big because she has sex. It's like, what? Like, wait, is that true? Is that is that how you get a big chest? Like, I didn't know. Again, I was 11. So it's like people making fun of me and talking about me and not being seen. It can make one person go crazy.
Yeah. And for you to even like say all these things were happening to you, and were you able to share that type of stuff with your mom and your sister at the time, or is that stuff that you kind of kept in?
At the time, I kept that in because, like I said, I did not know. So it's like, I didn't know I wasn't a hoe because I literally was a virgin. I was like, I don't know. And then, like, I thought being a virgin was so bad. So I'm like, wait, no, I'm not a virgin. I'm not.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, see, I told you she's not a virgin. But then, like, when the guy would come to me, I'm like, oh, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't even know what this is. Like, I'm confused right now. I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
But then another thing I felt that really got me is when I was on punishment for fighting at AV. My mom put me on punishment. She was at work and my dad was home with me. And 2 boys were knocking on the door. He was like, Tiqua, you got company. And I'm like, I'm on punishment. He was like, so what? Go outside and have fun. And these boys are actually trying to have sex with me.
Wow.
And I'm like, my dad literally allowed me. You know, most fathers are like, who the hell? Who was you? What, you brave enough to knock on my door for my daughter.
Yeah.
And like, long it was 2 of y'all.
Yeah.
And for him to just be like, oh yeah, you can go. They're your friends. Go have fun. And we went to an abandoned house and they were trying to have sex with me.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, is my life really not meant anything? Like my own dad.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You haven't been in my life. So you don't know how to be a father. But I feel like everybody knows, don't allow your daughter to go off with 2 boys. Common sense. To me, I thought it was common sense.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, okay, I can go outside. I mean, mom's not here. I guess I'll go. Like,
yeah. So how does that like how did you I know you said God and like you did go to counseling and stuff like that, but like what was kind of like how did you deal with that? Besides I know you did try to commit suicide, and that was back in 11, and then once you went to AP you were a little older.
I was 12.
So how did you
Going on
kind of
12.
like sift through all that being that young? And these are things that like even just sitting here talking to you, like I can think of things that I maybe have not thought about that I've been through, having a big chest and what guys would say to me, and
Right.
being a virgin, and hearing rumors about me that I'm like I'm a virgin, like, and just thinking of those things and thinking how I felt. And it's like what did that how did that like how did you deal with that other than the anger? Like how did you come out of maybe feeling the way you were feeling?
I don't think I ever actually came out of it.
Mm.
I honestly felt like, when I would get mad, I would just want to attack people.
Mhm.
I wanted to fight you. Like,
Mhm.
even though, like, again, like, yes, I am very soft spoken.
Mhm.
I can be very sweet.
Yeah.
And there's times where I'm scared, like, oh, I don't want to fight her. She too big for me. I ain't trying to get beat up today. But it's like, if you got me to that point where I was just very angry and I couldn't calm down for a minute, I just want to terrorize anything and anyone who came my direction. Like, when I had boyfriends, they called me the abuser because when they would piss me off, I would hurt them, like leave bruises on them because I'm mad. Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. Like, I'm angry. But it's just like, I don't think I came out of it. It got to the point where like I would get suspended so much, and like you had to sign a paper saying that you wouldn't do it again. My mom got to the point where she was like, "Why? Why does she have to keep signing this when you know you about to suspend her?" I'm like, it got to the point my mom didn't even believe in me no more. She's like, you know what, here, just
Wow.
why? I don't care to sign this no more. You are gonna call me in a couple of days, say she's suspended again. We gotta do this all over again. There's no point in me signing this paper.
Yeah.
Like,
and did that
crazy.
like affect you guys' relationship as you're going through all this? Like, did that ever affect like your relationship with her? Or like, cause you, like you said, you like, she was even like not believing like you gonna keep doing this, but like, did she ever like get like upset with you about like, why are you not listening? Or like, why are you not trying to change? Or like, did she just support you kind of through that?
No. I think, like honestly, like my mom, she had my dad. So I felt like she just felt, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I can't honestly say how my mom felt, but as I got older, I think after I got to high school, I think I finally told her how I really felt.
Yeah.
And how that hurt me. And she's like, well, I'm sorry. And I was just like, oh, now I get a sorry. Like maybe I should have said something then, and I probably could have got that closure.
Yeah.
But again, you're young. You don't think that mature to where it's like, oh, let me go to my mom and tell her I'm angry at you because you choosing daddy over me.
Yeah.
But it's like, I just felt like maybe I should just stay in a child's place. My mom's happy that he's here. So evidently he's doing something that she's been missing this entire time that I can't provide for her.
Yeah.
And there was something I couldn't provide for her. But again, being young, you don't know that's why your mom is acting the way she is.
Yeah.
But her finally saying sorry, that hit a different, I think that altered our relationship. It changed it for the better.
For the better.
To where it was like, now I really can be wholeheartedly to my mom. Like, of course, things I still wouldn't tell my mom to this day. But I have told her like, hey mom, I snuck out when I was like 13.
Back in the
You
day.
Did what? I'm like, what you gonna do now? You can't
Right?
whoop me.
You can't whoop me. Can't ground me. I'm
Like,
gonna let you know now.
I got kids.
Right?
Like, you can't get me no, but technically she can still hit me if she wanted to. But I honestly feel it just changed our relationship to where it's like hearing her say I'm sorry, because not most parents tell you they're sorry. Their way of saying sorry is like, you want some ice cream?
Right.
And it's like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm not in trouble no more. Yeah, I want some ice cream. Let's go to Denny's. Like,
or like I'm grown and you need, like you said, just staying in a child's place. So I want to even like kind of touch on, because in this day and age, I do believe that young kids have it even harder than us. We have social media. We have, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know how, my heart is like, goes out to young children, adolescents, middle schoolers, like preteens, all that. So going through all the things you went through, and I know there's a lot of young men and women that are probably going through the same, if not even more than you have. Like, what would you say to them? What would you say to even a parent or a teacher that may be dealing with somebody who is like you?
Well, see, it's not funny, but my daughter is like that. My
Okay.
oldest. I literally like looked at her and I said to my sister, I was like, listen, I said, you know how Jesus went through all this stuff, so we don't gotta go through it. That's what I feel like I did. Like I went through all this craziness, all these mixed emotions, all this pain, all this anger, just so you don't have to. So why? Why do you feel the need to want to do this stuff? And like my daughter has felt that way. And I told her, I said, listen, I've been where you've been. I said, it's not fun. I said, but now it's worse for y'all because y'all got social media. Like we didn't have it like that. Like, yeah, by the time I got to high school, we had MySpace.
Yeah.
Only thing that we was mad about was not being on your top 10. Okay. So to be this in this day and age, I always say I'm so happy I wasn't born in this day and age because I guarantee I will be in jail because people will be dead because my anger then to this day and age. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
There would not be a Chatiqua.
Yeah.
It would be, Chatiqua, the girl who was in jail for murdering like 10 people in her school. Yes, that's Chatiqua. Because my anger was, I didn't know how to control it. It's just like when you see like these movies of, like X-Men, when you can't control that power within you and you end up hurting someone that you didn't mean to hurt, it's because you don't know how to deal with it. You're not taught how to deal with it. And I feel like I wasn't taught how to deal with my anger. But it's like nowadays there's so many resources that these kids have today. But a lot of us parents and a lot of our teachers, we're fed up. We don't want to do it. We don't want to put in that work. So all I could say to like the kids is it's not worth it. At the end of the day, all this anger, all this pain that you're feeling, it's going to stay with you until you can resolve it. And if you don't talk to people about it, and I'm not just saying talk to your friends, because again, we're so young. They the ones that egg you on, but so you really mad. So why don't we go to their house right now and you fight them? Or why don't you go to their house right now? Here, take this gun and shoot them. Like, it's crazy nowadays. So it's like, I would literally tell them, seek help. And honestly, seek professional help. Like sometimes you can't go to your family. Sometimes you can't go to your friends because some of them will make it worse, unfortunately. And that hurts.
Yeah.
It's always the people that you least expect that will be the ones to help you. And that's what I would honestly say. But like my daughter, I feel like she's lucky to have me because I've been through that. I said, yeah, I may not have had the social media to make it worse.
Yeah.
But I had those friends who, back then we had that three-way who would secretly be on that three-way and get me caught up. And I'd be like, I did not say, yes, you did, because so-and-so was on the phone. They're like, yep, I heard everything. It's like, and my mom's sitting there like, so you said that? What? Yeah, I guess I did. Like, you can't back up for that. But now you can screenshot it and send it all around the world. And it's just like, once you say it, once it goes out, it ain't going back. I mean, someone could easily put or fake your profile. It's so crazy now.
It is.
So it's like, it's 10 times harder. But my thing that really, and I tell my daughter that she needs to do, is worry about God.
Yeah.
Like, all jokes aside, worry about God. Get closer to him, because if I didn't have that background, I don't think I would be Chatiqua. I don't think I would be here right now.
Yeah. Wow. This is good stuff. I mean, and the wisdom that you just shared, even for the young youth, is important. And I know that a lot of times it is hard for them to get the confidence to speak up and go to those adults. And what is it, real quick, actually, I'm gonna get these comments because they are coming in. Megan says, Tiqua is my hero. I'm so proud of her. She said, love you, little sis.
Love you more.
Lamario, yes, Tiqua, you are a citizen in heaven.
Yes, I am.
We have Alex, Ali DeSantis. She said, I'm glad you found yourself and became happy. You deserve this. You are seen. Marie Love says, well, I never seen that side of you.
That's a good thing.
I've seen a little bit of it, but not the way she's talking. Tavon, Carson, she said, an apology goes such a long way, especially for from a parent. That is very true.
It is.
I'm sorry if I get y'all names wrong. Twanita. Okay,
Yes.
she said, "Look at my little sister." We have Courtney Stan. That's my bestie cousin. She said, "Yes, focus on God while you are young." And then Raylena, I'm gonna get her Raylena. I'm gonna get it right by the end of the night. She said, "You did that, babes." I love how you guys see it, and you got support. I see the support. So even going to what Courtney said about focus on God while you're young. In this day and age, we have so many different, and everybody knows by now, like, that I am a woman of faith, a woman of God. I love me some God, capital God. So when we're on this, I talk with those who talk about it. I talk about it and I highlight it. But you talked about saying, like, your daughter, that's what you tell her, focus on God. Like, how do you feel like, because this day and age, like I was gonna say, young kids have so many different options of spirituality, and things are just that people are always telling them, like, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. And sometimes they're like, I don't want to be bothered with anything other than what I know, or not going to church and not knowing God. So, like, what would you tell, or like, how are you kind of helping your daughter to maybe be interested? I don't even know. She might not be interested still, but like, how are you kind of trying to support your daughter in the way of following God, or like leaning on God?
Being the example.
That's
like being the example. Like, my daughter, she can literally tell you she's seen me pray. She's heard me speaking in tongues. She's heard me worship. She's seen me praise dance because she's in my dance team at the church. She sees me read my Bible. Like, she knows I will kick them on the heartbeat. Like, listen, this is me and God's time. Y'all got to stop.
Yeah.
And they be looking at me like, and then they go. And then when I'm having my breakthrough moment, she'll come in the room and look to check on me. She'll be like, oh, she praising God.
Yeah.
And she'll go back into her room. So it's like, my kids know me. Yeah. So I am literally the example. But that's also what I saw in my mother too. I saw her pray because she's a prayer warrior. She's part of the team at our church. And it's like, seeing my mom pray all the time. And I'm just like, this God must be something special. Yeah. So I guess I need to like catch on, get on board. But it's like, being that example really shows. Like, I feel like if I didn't have a relationship with God, I can't sit there and tell my daughter what not to do. And then, like, people like, oh, you're a hypocrite. How you going to tell your daughter not to drink, but you drink? And it's just like, I tell her all the time, like, I do things that are not always right. And they're not even good for me at the time. I said, but that doesn't mean you have to do it. Yeah. I said, I get it. You shouldn't see me doing that. I understand that. And I apologize for even introducing you to that. I said, but it's not good for you. I said, nowadays, things are getting blown out of proportion. Yeah. I said, everyone can't handle certain things that come to them or that's given to them. And I said, I need you to be protected because people are slipping things into food, candy. Like, you have to be careful nowadays. Like, even with the whole vaping situation. Yeah. My daughter actually got caught doing it at school. And I was pissed. I'm like, wait, who? My daughter? Yeah. Again, I know my daughter's not perfect. I wasn't perfect.
No one is perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
No
we are
one,
human.
Literally.
Yes.
But it was just like, to hear that, I'm just like, so why? But it's so easy for them now. It's literally at their fingertips to where they can get it.
Yeah. That's
and
crazy
it
too.
hurts. And then you'll have some parents that will literally supply it for them. So it makes it even 10 times easier. It's like, I don't know what friends my child has, and I don't know the youth that she's around, but it's like, I'm very, very protective over my child, and I try to let her know, I can't always be there with you. I said, but the one person I can is God. Yeah. He is literally with you everywhere you go. I said, so when you're having these moments where you're angry or you feel depressed or you feel like you're not loved, I said, you know who do love you? She like, God. I'm like, yes, exactly. I said, you think it's a joke, but it's true. I said, the Bible says when your mother and father forsake you, I will take you as my own.
Yes,
you will be my child. And I said, so when you feel like I've forsaken you, I said, God didn't. I said, when you feel like your daddy forsaking you, God didn't. I said, so it's okay to be upset. Like, we're supposed to have those emotions so we know there's something wrong and we have to fix it. Yeah. But we don't have to do it on our own. Yeah. And I try to get her to understand that.
That's good. Listen, she over here speaking words of wisdom for even adults. Like, anybody can take that message that you said that you use for your daughter and apply it to their own life and stuff like that. So I think that's good that you're even, like you said, like they see that example. And even I can speak for myself, my kids see that example. I saw that example. And yes, are we not perfect? Do we make decisions that maybe aren't what the Lord wants?
Yes.
But I always try to teach grace as well for my children, and knowing that, like, his grace is sufficient, and
enough.
yes, it's
enough. Thank God for that
and
grace.
yeah, thank God for that grace.
No,
Because
literally.
when humans don't have it on you, he does.
He sure
Okay.
does.
And that's an important part of life, and like as a woman of God, to me, is having that grace, because we fall short daily. Like, and for you to be able to tell your daughter, like, listen, you're gonna fail. Like, you did things, you're already doing things I really don't approve of, but I forgive you. God forgives you, and
Right, yeah.
He has
Like
grace
I
on you.
still love
So
her. Yeah, I
yes.
still love. And that sometimes, like, I get mad at her, and I'm just like, you can't have this, you can't have that. And I'll tell my sister, I'm like, Megan, I said, it's crazy. I'm telling her she can't have this, but I do wrong, and God still gives it to me. I said, so does that mean I have to give it to her too?
It's the balance. Like, listen.
It's like, listen, you can't have this, but God still provides me what I need. You're just not gonna get the high tech stuff you want. You're gonna get that lower grade.
No, for real.
And here you go, be happy. Like, leave me alone.
So you talk about high school. You get into high school, and obviously that's where you and I met. And I know that was a whirlwind for you as well.
Yeah.
So that's part of the journey. We done talked about the young Chatiqua for a good minute.
Woo-woo.
But I definitely want to, even go into that journey of being in high school and falling in love with the guy at young age, thinking we know what love is.
Thought it was love.
Thought it was love.
It was that puppy love, like little Bow Wow said.
It's okay. We all got it. We've all had it. But like, tell me what that journey was like, because you said you were a senior when you were almost didn't get to graduate or like go to.
Yeah, I was a senior when they tried to pull that from me. I'm like, no, I worked hard for this. Yeah. Like, I graduated honors. Like, people still try to figure out, how did she graduate honors? And she was in transition school for like 3 months of her school. Like, how's that even possible? Because I did my work. But I was literally the only student who was allowed to do actual real school work from Sean Vincent. Everybody else had to do word puzzles, simple multiplication, like 5 + 2 is 7. And like, I told them, I said, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm an honor student. I want my school work. Yeah. And they were like, we'll see what we can do. And it got to a point where the kids in that class was like, how'd she get her homework? We sitting here doing puzzles. And it was like, they ignored them. It was like, I bet you she's sleeping with the principal.
Oh,
and I'm like,
wow.
Because I'm getting my schoolwork. You sound dumb. But, as I get older, I realize that's nothing but the grace of God right there in his favor.
Yeah.
Because I was the only one who was allowed to do her actual schoolwork.
Wow.
Because I still wanted credit for my work. Like, yes, I messed up. I did wrong by fighting that girl and doing what I did. Because according to her mother, I was an animal, and no animal should be allowed in schools with human beings. But it's just like, for a person to think that of me, like, dang, I must have really tore that girl up. I feel good in the end.
Hold on, I'm trying to think if I heard about it, or I might have been. Was that in the hallway?
It was in the hallway.
Yeah.
At the locker.
I did not. I think I saw when they pulled you away, but I wasn't there when it fully happened.
Yeah, they threatened me. They said, if you don't let her go, we're gonna handcuff you.
Wow.
I was like, I kicked her one last time, not let her go. They're like, that's it, Chatiqua. I said, I let her go. But no, seriously, all jokes aside. But being in high school and dealing with all that, it was not easy. I thought I was in love. And, as you get older, you realize, like, if someone truly loves you, they wouldn't put you through all of that. Like, I bent over backwards for him. I mean, it got to the point where, what's that movie with Taraji P. Henson where she was, like, mentally, like, crazy, basically?
Oh, when she was on the boat.
Yes.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because everybody always just says, she was in the wrong, he was in the wrong, she was in the wrong. They always say, but yeah.
But it was like, acrimony or something like that.
Yes.
When
now
I
I'm about
saw
to have to
that
look it up
movie,
while you talking.
I literally saw myself like how she drove her car into dude's house because what he was doing. I haven't done that, but I would take my grandma's car in the middle of the night and go and try to catch my boyfriend cheating, and it got to the point I'm just like, this is too much work. This is way too much work. And then like the last straw for me and him to actually be done was something that, included my life, that changed it. And I don't talk
Acrimony.
about it. Yeah, I was like acrimony. And I don't talk about it often, but it was like, we were supposed to have a child together, but we end up not having it. And then he ended up having another one with another person. Due date was around my due date.
Wow.
And that's when I realized, like, this is never going to work. Like, he doesn't even care that he's hurting me this bad. And then, like, one thing I used to hate was when people were like, well, Chatiqua, you chose to do this. He didn't make you do it. I'm like, in my mind, yes, he did. Like, if he didn't do that, I wouldn't be acting like this. No, like, but you have a choice. And it's just that
be hurting. I hate that, and I still gotta work on.
It hurts
like,
so bad.
They didn't hold a gun to your head. They didn't but.
And it's like you're right. But it's like still, I'm hurting. I want him to hurt like me. But then it's like you have to grow up, and it's like when he had that baby, I'm like, oh, I love this baby. This baby's so beautiful. Like I wish I could have had mine, but I'm gonna love this one too. But I'm like, yeah, it's not worth my emotions, my heart right now. So, we were done. But, to be in high school and to think you're in love, it's just like, what is that? Like, don't get me wrong. You have people who do marry. They true sweetheart, high school sweetheart. When they're like 16, they've been married. But some of those I've seen did not last past the age of 20-something. They got a divorce. And come to find out, there was like a mental abuse going on in those relationships that they didn't even realize was going on until they got older. And they realized, like, this is really not my sweetheart. Like, I thought I wanted to be friends with the rest of my life, and I realized I don't. Now, the ones who are surviving, kudos. I am so happy for y'all.
Listen,
God bless, because it's not easy.
No, it isn't. It isn't. So, like, what do you feel like you learned? I know you did say, like, he didn't make me do this, and people were telling you like you did you allowed this to happen. So like, what do you feel like you learned? Because you're now getting ready to transition into womanhood around like after high school, and you're still have grown into these things. Like, what do you feel like you've learned from that experience?
I don't feel like I learned anything until
until
like 22. No, like seriously, like because although we sit here and say, and all of us females have been there, like, oh, I would never let a man do that to me. If that was me, I would. We could say all that if we want to,
sometimes
but
we going through it while we're saying
exactly. Like we're literally like, I ain't stupid. Like I know you're talking to so and so, but I still love him.
Yeah,
it's just like I be sitting there listening to them. I'm just like, why? Why do we? I said, yeah, you can love him, but you don't have to be with him. You don't have to stay with him. And I think that's like everyone's hard thing. They're like, but I love them. And then as I got older, I'm like, do you love them or are you in love with them? Because those are two different things that we confuse. And it's like when I learned that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, oh. I said, am I in love with this person? And when I realized, yes, I am. But guess what? I love myself more. And the only reason why I learned that saying is because of Sex and the City. That's my favorite sitcom.
I love it too.
My favorite sitcom. And when Samantha, she said it twice, but the first time when she said it, she was like, I love you, Smith, but I love myself more. And I'm just like, oh
yeah,
man. I was like, that's deep because he didn't do anything to her. It was just he wasn't able to provide what she really wanted anymore. And it's just like you have to get to that point sometimes in your life, like you're not providing what I need anymore. Like you were only providing my flesh aspect of what I wanted. And now I'm beyond that. I want something deeper, and that's not what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So it's like when you learn that, and I didn't learn that until I was like after my 22s, 23, and that was only because of after Day passed that really hit me to the point it was just like I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not built
Yeah.
for this type of pain to consistently go through and allow myself to go through it.
Yeah.
But the thing that he taught me while he was living was a woman will only do, I mean, a man will only do what a woman allows him to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, I was just like, it was like a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, one, you're that bold to say that to me. And then two, do I allow it?
Mm.
Am I consistently allowing you this? And then you start to sit there and think, he cheated on you 2 weeks ago and he's right back in the house.
Mm.
You caught him with another female in your car, but he's still driving your car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's like I saw that pattern. And when we finally called it quits, and he was like, I don't understand why you just can't take me back. I said, what is it that you said? That a man will only do what a woman allows him to? And he was like, dang, my words came back to
come
bite
back.
me. And which I was like, you know what? I love you. I really do. I'm in love with you, like, strongly. I said, but I love me more.
Yeah.
And I have a daughter, our daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need her to see that it's okay for a man to keep doing this repeatedly and I still stay beside you. I said, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. And I've always heard that saying, like, a man will only do what you allow. And it you can hear it all day, but it really takes for you to really decide, like, what is my value? What is my worth? Like, in order to not let that happen to you. And for you to even say, like, I have a daughter and stuff like that, that's a kind of what for me was when I was like, no, I'm in this toxic relationship and my daughter's going to get older one day and see this. And I don't want her to see, like, this is okay. Or like, especially, like, you know, Divinely Crown'd, I'm always vocal about how Divinely Crown'd kind of was inspired by my daughter and how, you know, when I had her, I was like, okay, I have to start loving myself and really finding out who Davina is and being confident in that. And so, like, now it's like I really want to make sure I'm being her first role model in the best and healthiest way I can. And you, like you said, like, her not wanting her to see how not to be treated. I want her to see, like, listen, it's okay to walk away if this isn't right for you and this isn't you're not being valued and things like that. So for you to even say, like, you know, your daughter was like, I have this daughter that's going to look up to me. That's a big thing because sometimes women don't say, like, oh, I have this child, especially a young woman that is looking up to me, and then we repeat the cycles. So
exactly,
you know,
gotta break those cycles.
So even talking about and I don't actually, let me make sure these Tanisha said the power of growth. Yes,
it's literally
yes. And Marie said you definitely hit the nail on the head with that. I believe that's when you were talking about, you know, I love you, but I love myself more. So I know that you did experience that loss with your children's father. Would you like to share a little bit about that? Yeah. If you don't want to, it's okay too.
So that was a growth moment for me too. One, I was mad at my mom because you know how they always say, you know, listen to your parents. They've been there, they've done that. And I was like, well, Mom, you didn't warn me about this one.
Wow.
And she was like, Chatiqua, I've never been through it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, then why did I have to experience it? Like, I don't understand that part. Why did I have to be the one to experience this? And she was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she was like speechless. But that day goes down in history for me. I will never forget that day. You know, we had our problems, we had our issues. You know, no one's perfect. And like one thing I always tell people, like, you can't sit here and talk about what he's doing or what I'm doing. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors between me and my person. Like that, what we do is what we do. Okay, it's not your business nor your concern to know what we're doing. But you know, that was a very, very hard time for me because it's like I understand everybody was hurting. That was it was like a dagger just repeatedly going in and out your heart.
Yeah.
Like repeatedly, and you're still living, like you want to die, but you can't.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your body just won't let you. It's like, nope, you're gonna keep feeling this pain repeatedly over and over and over. And you know, it was very hard for everyone. But I feel like it hit me but I couldn't believe it because I actually had a show to do that day.
Wow. Yes, we will get into your shows, by the way. Yes.
I was in the show that day. I was doing Leading Ladies at the Erie Playhouse. That was in July of 2013. And it was actually our last show, our last matinee we had to do that day. And I was calling my director, letting him know, like, what just transpired. I'm just like, I don't, but he didn't answer. And we didn't have understudies. So it's like, you had to be on stage.
Yeah.
So when I got there, one of my friends who I grew close to, Chris, when he saw me, he just hugged me and said, Chatiqua, I'm so sorry. Because, he knew a bit of what I was going through with him anyway. But for that to actually happen, it was just like, he didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
And like when he hugged me, I fell to the ground because I'm just like, this is real.
Yeah.
And then, my mom, I was like, can my mom please stay backstage with me? They said, yes, most definitely. Like the director apologized over and over. Charlie was very like heartbroken. He's like, I'm so sorry, T. I didn't answer. I hope you don't think I was, trying to ignore you. I was just, at the moment, I was just like, that's all right, But I still went on stage that day. It was a comedy, which was a good thing. And I still act. I still did what I had to do. And the people who knew, which my sister was in the audience, Juanita was in the audience that day. And I can't remember who else was out there, but they came to me and was like, Tiqua, you literally deserve an Oscar. They said, because if I didn't know what you just witnessed before coming on this stage, how?
Yeah.
And I remember saying, I wasn't Chatiqua. I was my character. I was Audrey. And Audrey is a dumb blonde who's so giddy and bubbly with big breasts. And that's who I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So it was like,
I just got chills. Wow.
So it was an eye opener. And then to see his kids, and I'm just like, man, why?
Yeah.
And they're being so young, but as old as, he wasn't that young. Like he understood, like, my dad's not here. He's not coming back. And it's just like, how do you move on from that? And so it was devastating. And I was just like, man, like, I think I was out off of work for like almost like a month. And it was just like, wow. I don't have him no more. Like, I didn't get the text messages. Like, even if we were done, I would still get a text from him. And like, I remember one time I said, man, you supposed to be bringing me lunch at this time. My sister's best friend, Bahija, was like, I'll bring you lunch. What you want? And I was like, it's not the same. But, I appreciate people who did reach out and, that were there for me. But that literally showed me again, I'm meant to be here. But it also showed me that I was a force to be reckoned with. And I say that only because when I used to live in Clarion, my college days, I remember, I'll never forget it. It's so much in my life I'll never forget. But I had a dream, and there were 2 demons in my house when I used to live out in Clarion. Because I was taking a shower, and all of a sudden I saw my daughter's curtain in her room just blow. And I was like, who is it? And all of a sudden, it was the black and the white demon. And they were chasing after me. And I didn't have any oil in my house. Because, people say, anoint your house with the oil. That was the virgin olive oil. Get the oil. So I'm just running, trying to find some oil, going to people's houses. And I finally get to one house, and their door was open. I ran straight down their stairs to their kitchen because I knew how all the apartments were set up. So I ran straight to the kitchen. I went to grab the oil. I turned around. The demon right in my face. He said, it's not the word. It's not the oil that frightens us. It's your words. Oh. And I was just like, in my dream, I'm just sitting there looking at him. And I'm just like, all right. He said, but I want you to know one thing. He said, we can't hit you now, but we're going to come back. And when we do, we're going to hit you hard. And I said, I'll be ready. And when Day left, I knew I wasn't ready. I said, oh, they got me. He said he was going to do that. And like, granted, it happened like years after I had that dream, but they were so right. They were so right. They said, when I come back, we're going to hit you hard. And I'm like, whoa. I said, God, I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I told them I would be ready, and I was not ready. And so like that taught me right then and there, like you literally cannot allow your flesh to stop praying for the person you're with.
Oh,
no matter how much pain they're causing you, no matter how much you cry, you're just like, I'm just done. That right there, that moment showed me, Tua, you gotta get back on your game. You literally fell off.
Yeah.
But what I always tell the devil is, I said, you hit me hard. You took someone so important to me that took away from my daughter. I said, now I gotta fight.
You want to take a breath real quick? I was like, someone told me I was going to need tissue for this, and I need to get tissue. So let me get you some tissue real quick.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're still on, so don't say nothing you don't want no.
I'm not. I'm going to be good. I'm going to drink some water.
Got tissue.
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you. Hospitality.
Yes. Listen, we trying.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you.
Whoa. Okay. So before we even continue, I first want to say thank you for sharing that.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Thank you for being vulnerable to share that, because that's heavy.
It is.
I'm sitting here like, okay, I gotta be strong for her.
It's very heavy, but I learned to deal with it. You know, it's never easy watching someone pass, or even just someone passing away in your life that's very close to you. But like I said again, if I literally did not have God and my bishop, you know, he told me, he said, I really wanted you to come to church that day. I didn't want you to go to the playhouse. You know, I want you to hear the word. And it was just like, I could see why you felt that way, because I really did need to hear it. But, you know, I still kept going to church, even though I know I was hurting on the inside. But it's really, really hard. You know, like now, like when people pass, I'm just like, they in a better place. You know, they ain't dealing with all this craziness here on earth.
Yeah.
I said, but at the same time, it's never easy, no matter if it's because of old age or if they were murdered or, you know, suicide, whatever the case may be, it's always going to be hard.
Yeah.
You never, you know, let go of it. And then, like, I look at my daughter and I see her dad and her, and I'm like, ugh, looking like your dad. And she's like, yep, I look like my dad.
Yeah.
I don't look like you. And I look better than you. I'm like, okay, that's something your dad would say.
He would. Oh, Daddy was always
I
so
can hear him talking,
bubbly, and like he definitely was always.
He really. I said, you was a life of the party. Like
he
was.
was.
I said, Daddy left a legacy. He didn't even know that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, because it's like we were young. We were in our 20s, you know. But like I said, man, why I feel like a widow at 22? Like, this is not how my life is supposed to be. I'm supposed to be living it up in my 20s. Like, 20s is your dumb years to me. Like, you make the biggest, dumbest mistakes ever. And then I'm like, I'm ready for my 30s. So I'm mature now. It's like, I'm mature now. I know what I'm doing. I can do this. But it's like, that wasn't even half of it, though. Like, after that, I found out I was pregnant.
I remember.
And I was like, what? There's a baby inside of me? And like, a lot of people are like, wait, you had a baby and lost it? So yeah, and that's where Nila's Dream Daycare comes from.
Wow. Okay.
That's where Nila comes from, because that's what I had named my daughter.
Okay.
I actually didn't know I was having a girl. Shamir actually came up to me as my oldest, and she touched my stomach. She's like, you're having a girl. And I was like, girl, bye. I am not having a girl. I said, this is going to be a boy. Yeah. And the doctors had to do blood tests because she had fluid in her spine area. And I was just like, man. I was like, well, she'll be fine. I mean, the baby fine, right? They was like, well, by the way, it's a girl. I was like, it's a what? It's a girl. And she has Turner syndrome and hydrops.
Okay.
I'm like, what is? I know what Turner syndrome is, you know. It's a deformality of the body. You know, you don't look like everyone else. You know, your hairline is a little bit further back. You have a web neck, web arms, web hands, web feet. But you know, I said, I don't care if my child has Turner syndrome. I still love that child regardless, deformality and all. Like, that's my baby. But then he said high drops. I'm like, what is high drops? Like me and my sister, my mom, we all looked at each other because they had to have a specialist actually come in to Erie from Pittsburgh.
Wow.
To tell us about this. I'm like, what is high drops? We all looked around. It's like it's a genetic that comes from the mother's side. And I'm like, I said, okay. And I'm looking at my mom. I said, I'm like, what genetic? It's on the mama's side. I said, Mama, it's on your side. He said, well, it actually come from her side. So I'm like, it's from grandma's side.
Oh,
I said, wow. This is grandma phone did. But it was like, it's basic. High drops is when fluids form on your main organs. And because they're trying to grow, they don't survive.
Wow.
There's a 99% chance they will die.
Yeah.
And there's only 1% that actually survived. There's literally one child. I looked it up. There was one that survived. And I prayed. I said, well, God, my child's going to be that other 1%. And she's going to be amazing. So I wanted to find a name that fit her specifically. So I had named her Nila Nicole. But Nila, if you look it up, the Greek version of it means victory of the people.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh, that is perfect because she is going to be victorious of her people. And I'll never forget, it was the last sonogram. And she had did this in it. And then she had put a thumbs up. And I was like, Megan, Mom, did y'all see that? The technician was like, oh my God, I've never seen that happen before.
Oh my God.
And I still have the disc of that because it was just like, it was meant for me to see that. And then when we went to my last appointment to check, the nurse was quiet. My mom was quiet. My sister was quiet. I'm like, she was like, I gotta go get the doctor. I was like, what happened? And my sister had to look at her. I'm like, my baby's dead, isn't she? She's dead. She's dead. And they didn't say anything. I'm like, all right, so they're just gonna ignore me. Like, I'm not here. And the doctor came in. He was like, oh, Chatiqu, we're sorry to inform you. I was like, yeah, I knew it. You don't gotta tell me. I know she's gone. He was like, well, you're gonna have to still give birth. I'm like, what? The baby's dead. Just like vacuum the child out like it was an abortion or something. He said, no, you have to push the baby out.
Wow. Chatiqua.
I said, what? I gotta push out a dead baby? Like, I've never imagined that. So like my sister and my mom, of course, my backbones, they were there for me. They were with me in the hospital. It was December 31st. And again with the 1, 2, 3, 1. We'll get to that.
We'll get to the numbers.
But it was Christmas Eve. I always go to watch night at church, and that was my first one I missed. Actually, no, that was my second one because my 18 I was acting bad. But that was my real first one I missed, and I was in the hospital, and they had to dilate me twice, and those pills are horrible.
Yeah,
like when they shove that stuff is the worst. But anyway, so the second one it finally took. And I felt water, and I just felt a gush just roll out of me. And I looked at my sister, I said, the baby's here. She was like, maybe your water just broke. I said, no, the baby's here. She's like, Chatiqu, I said, go get the nurse. The baby is here. So she went to get the nurse. They pulled the blanket bag. I said, I told you. She was like, oh, my God. And like I got to hold her, and I was just like, I said, oh, my God, look at her. I said, oh, you're so beautiful. But then when I had to come home, my daughter was like, Mom, where's my sister? And I'm like, I said, well, baby, I said, Nila decided she wanted to be with your dad instead. And she was like, oh, so daddy's going to take care of her? I said, yeah, I'm going to let daddy take care of her. So if I get to take care of you, he's going to take care of Nila. And so I always told myself I want to always, do something to remember her by. And then when I had quit my job and became a nanny, and God said, you're going to do a daycare. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, what am I even going to name this daycare? Clear as day. God was like, Nila's Dream Daycare.
Yes.
I was like, Nila's Dream. And like, even when you look at my logo, it speaks volumes because it's a tree. There's a heart at the top.
Yes.
With 2 little kids at the bottom reaching up.
Wow. I'm gonna relook at it right now because
I got a card. You can look at it.
Listen, we're gonna have to put that up to the screen. Let me put it up to the screen so people can see it.
Like, no, seriously. Like
Let me see if we can.
When you look at it, I always tell people, I'm like that.
I don't know if you guys can fully.
I said the red heart symbolizes Nila. She's at the top.
Hold on, let me see.
And then
looks better on my phone. Can y'all? No, it don't, because my phone is too bright.
Just go to my website.
Yeah, go to her website, and also I will try to share it underneath this
but
this post.
But like For real. Like when you look at it, I said, that's my oldest and my youngest.
Oh my
And they're reaching up
goodness.
for all the other hearts of the children. I said, but Nyla's up top.
Oh my
So I said
goodness.
that logo when this guy named Derek created it for me. I said, that's it. That's my logo. I
That's
said,
a powerful
logo.
logo.
So much volumes.
Oh my
and I
goodness.
said, my baby is the victory of the people.
Yes.
And it's for these children. So it's like everything about my life was meant to happen.
Wow.
And I'm all for it. Do I say I would do it again? No. I would not relive my life again.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful for it because if I did not go through what I went through, one, I wouldn't have known that I needed God as much as I did. And two, I wouldn't know who I am and who I'm supposed to be. Like I always, we always ask that question, what's our purpose in life? Why are we here? And like I realized 22 years later what my real purpose was, because it was in Clarion. It was 2011. I was in my hallway in my apartment, and I heard God say, our children are in trouble. That was in 2011. Look how much has transpired since then.
I know.
How many of our kids have we lost? I'm sorry, passed away. So many.
Yeah.
So many. And I'm just like, wow. But the thing that really told me like I was meant to be back in Erie was when my bishop, wanted to start a school. And again, this was like years ago. Now he does have one with Eagle's Nest and everything. But it was just like, I'm meant to be at this church. I'm meant to be back in Erie because our children are in trouble. But then when I started to see so much transpiring with our youth, it was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then I got into childcare, but I was with, very fortunate children. I didn't work with a lot of unfortunate children. And now that I do work with unfortunate children, not saying that y'all broke.
Yeah. Mamas and daddies, don't be taking that personal.
Like, hold on, she talking about my child because she go to her daycare. No, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it like that. But the behaviors are so different. And it's like our kids need to see they can have the best. Yeah. Just like any fortunate child who parent can pay full price for childcare because we know it ain't cheap.
No, it's not.
My parents know it ain't cheap. They're like, you expensive. I know.
Quality.
Yes, you're gonna get all that love to your kids. But it's like, Nila and even my own, because the dream part is actually Shamir's name, what it means in French.
Oh wow.
But I said, it said, I care about these kids. I like legit care about these kids. Like I'll be sitting there some days, oh my God, why did you pick me for this? I'm like, my patience is like right here. And you want my patience to be right here. It's not adding up, sir. It's not adding up.
Listen.
But I learned to not question him.
No, you just gotta be obedient because Lord.
Just do what he tells you to do because, oh my
I know.
There's some days where I'm just like,
yes. You'd be like, try Jesus.
No, for real. Please don't try me. Because the ulti would throw them hands.
Yes, she would. Lord, you've been delivered. Let me get in these comments real quick. We got Elaine. She said, wow, but you still showed up. And then she did the emotional eyes.
Oh,
we got my girl, Akina. She's one of my divine guests. She said, hey, y'all, checking in, sending love while spring cleaning. Hey, sugar. I was doing spring cleaning today, too, girl. Listen, out with the old, in with the new. And then Elaine said, let me see. I hope you can see that, Elaine, when I posted it. If not, we're going to post it later. And then we have conversations with a Cancer. Hey. He said, y'all black is beautiful. Keep shining. Thank you. I got to shout conversations with a Cancer out real quick. Rob, I just had a memory. He was actually the first person that ever asked me to be on his podcast. This was like 2 or 3 years ago now. And it just came up on my timeline. I wrote him like, oh my God, like how many years? No, I don't think I ever wrote you. I was supposed to write you. But it's just like, wow, look how far we have come.
Right. No,
so
seriously.
It's crazy. So, whoa, this has been heavy.
Crazy.
Heavy. And I said before, you are. And I know we can go on and on, but I definitely want I don't want to leave it this heavy, but so I want to
Right.
highlight some
Yes.
things. But and like I said, I appreciate you sharing all that, and I know we can go deeper into that. And I definitely want to. I have some other things in mind, and I'm like, yeah, that would be good to just have you with that grief. And actually, I want to kind of touch on that real quick because I used to work at the Caring Place, which is a center for grieving children and their families, and a lot of times they struggled to have Black families and people of color come there because people really didn't trust. And so I'm always trying to kind of get insight on how to support people in their grief. So like, what was your journey like through the grieving process? You've had, these major people in your life, your grandfather, your children's father, your daughter. Like, how did you kind of process that? Or like, what would you share with somebody else that might be experiencing or have experienced something that you've went through?
Oh, well, one, I know people say time heals.
Mm.
And it's just like, I don't feel it completely heals.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel it helps you get through.
Mm.
It helps you be able to deal with it
Mm-hmm.
in a better aspect
Mm-hmm.
to where it's like, 5 years ago, I would cry every time July hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just be so hurt to the point now it's like, July is here. Happy birthday, Day, and keep it moving. And when December would hit, Nila, oh my God, you know how old you would be right now if he was here? But it's like now I have a little niece named Nila Inez. So she's best of both worlds.
Yes.
So she gets a mixture of me and a mixture of my baby who's not here with us. But it's just like, I know people, they hate to hear it. And they're like, oh yeah, you say God will help you get through this, but you just don't understand. It's just like, nah, for real. Like if I literally did not have that relationship, I'm not saying religion, a relationship
Yep.
with God, it really changes the whole scenario. You're able to take it on in a different format because he gives you that peace. Not that worldly peace, but his peace.
Yeah.
And when you have that type of peace, you learn to be content in literally every situation, circumstance, especially when it comes into that moment. Because like I said, it's not easy to deal with the passing of someone that you truly loved or a child passing. It's not. And as a woman, being pregnant is like an honor.
Yeah.
It's a privilege because not every woman can give that birth. And so it's like when you are pregnant, then you find out, oh, your child passed.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I can imagine.
Hurts because a lot of time you sit there and think like, well, years later, oh, my child will be this age right now. My child what will my child be doing now at this age? And it's like we can't think of that all the time because like I get it, it hurts. We want to remember stuff like that, but they're not here. And I always see it as it was a reason why. Because I feel like there might have been times where they were protecting me from something. Like I feel like God was protecting me from something. Like, yes, granted, Nila was not here, but she's still here in a big way that I would not have imagined. Like I have a daycare named after her now. And once it becomes big, that name will hit so many people's ears.
Yes.
And it's like, I went to Nila Stream Daycare and this is what I learned, even as an adult. Like, if it wasn't for that daycare, I wouldn't know how to deal with certain things, So it's like, I feel like a flower blossomed from that dirt that was placed into the ground into something so beautiful that even I did not even imagine. I didn't know what God had in store when that happened. And like people did ask me, like, how do you deal with this? Because I am so mad at God right now. And I said, it wasn't God. I said, there's only one person in the Bible who we know that kills, steals, and destroys. And that is the devil himself. I said, God is a God of increase. He doesn't take nothing away from you. He may multiply it, but he doesn't take it away from you. Yes, it hurts that you didn't have that child. Yes, it does hurt. I'm not saying that It doesn't, because it does. But we have to learn, which again is hard to do, but we have to recondition our minds. Is when we literally place all of our burdens. God tells you, He said, give them to me. It's a reason why He says that.
Yeah.
But how do you think He felt watching His own son having to die for us? He had to literally turn
Resurrection Sunday was just yesterday.
Exactly.
Okay?
Like He had to turn away from His son because He became sin for us. So do you think that didn't hurt God? Yeah. He knows what we feel. Yeah. He does. But we have to learn to place that burden, place that heaviness on Him. He says it willingly, like, just give it to me. I'm right here. Yeah. Just pass it all to me. Yeah. I'm not saying that it'll be completely wiped out of your head. Yeah. But what I'm saying is I want to be able to help carry it with you to where it will not hit you and affect you and knock you down to where you are nothing. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. She about to have church up in here. Keena said it's the relationship with God. She said, speak. Yes. So thank you for that. So I want to kind of highlight, because you have, like you said, you were in a play, and I just always thought that was like so perfect for your personality, for you to be in acting. So kind of share that part of your journey of being an aspiring actress. Yeah.
I still love to act. I don't do it as much as I love to. But acting, okay, so I pursued it more once I got to college. Okay. And I realized, okay, acting is something I want to do. But I was shy. I didn't know how to come out of it. Like, yeah, at Sean Vincent, I did write my first play and directed it and acted in it. Nice.
Come on.
So it was like, oh, I could do this. But then when you go to school, you're around so many talented people. You're like, yeah, no, I'll be backstage helping out, wearing all black, just changing, being the crew, changing sets. That'll be me. And like, I did do that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love it though. Like, just watching everything transpire and watching, the actors from just doing a read through to now acting it full blown out, giving emotions that they never gave before. It was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is amazing. And like, I'll never forget, we had to write a play. It was called I forgot what it was called. Play in a Day at Clarion. And all the people who wanted to write had to stay up literally hours to write a play. And then the next day you hurry up, pick some actors, and you act it out. It was called The Second Wind. Everyone had to have the same title, but it didn't have to have the same story.
Oh, wow.
So, mine was so graphic and detailed that my teacher was like, Chatiqua, I don't know if I should be terrified of you or impressed. And I was like, wait, why terrified? He said, I never thought you, of all people, would be that gruesome. And I'm like, oh, so I got a gruesome side to me. Oh, right. I'm learning more and more about myself. Like, I know I can be sweet, I can be crazy,
and I can be gruesome.
Right, I can be gruesome. And then when I learned how to do makeup, I love making people look dead. Again, don't know why. And like putting bruises on people, I loved it. I did it so much. I was just like, I want to do this forever.
Well, but I guess you needed to have an outlet still from the anger you were trying to process. Maybe that's where it was coming from.
I think it was because, I love action-packed movies. So I think seeing them, getting hurt or something breaking through, I'm like, I know how they did that. Right. So it's like,
because I do that. I know how to be gruesome.
I know. I want to grow up and do costume makeup and stuff now. I want to do makeup and act. I said I will be a force to be reckoned with. That didn't happen, but it'll happen eventually.
Yes, it will.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
But acting is a part of me, and I said God literally had a sense of humor when He created me. I said because I didn't want to do childcare. I said, God, because when I wanted to leave my job, I was like, I'm only good at two things. That's acting and taking care of kids. I don't want to take care of kids. So let's do the acting situation, sir. Let's do the acting.
And God's like, well, you're going to be over here taking care of these kids.
No, seriously. It's something I need you to do with these kids. Yeah. And I'm just like, man, because I even went to Atlanta. Like, I went to Atlanta back in 2016. And that's where I did my first background in the All Eyes on Me movie.
Okay.
That was like
I remember.
first time.
I think you posted about doing
Yes.
that. Yes.
And I was
remember
so
that.
excited because I got to meet Demetrius, who played Tupac. And I was just like, oh my God, he really looks like Tupac. This is crazy. like I got to network
too. It's crazy.
and meet people. And then, I got robbed on my first set. I was
my God.
I said, that's a shame. But it was funny because I only had $3. But I said I had my debit cards and everything in there. I said, y'all took my $3. I said, God, thank you.
Okay.
I didn't want to have to cancel all them cards. Yeah. But the person who I know stole it, acted like he didn't even know who I was. And I was just like, so that's how we do it in the Lord. This is how we do it. I said, God's protecting me for a reason when it comes to this acting, because he know the OT will pop up in 5.6 seconds. But no, seriously, and I met so many people on set. I met people who were veterans to this. And like, oh yeah, girl, this is like my 20th one. I'm like, oh, you're so pro. So how do I keep my phone on me? Girl, you gotta keep that in your chest. Don't ever let them know you got a phone. I'm like, oh, it's too late now. They got it. She's like, oh, well, you won't see that for like 12 hours. I'm like, ugh, 12 hours, no communication.
Oh my God.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I met so many people. And then I tried to get on Hidden Figures. And a couple of girls who I met and I saw in the movie, I was like, oh my God, she was at the day when we did it. Oh my God, that's her. And I felt like, oh, I'm still a part of it, even though I didn't get in it. But I'm just like, wow, the process was just so fun. And then me and my daughter, my oldest, I got her to go to Pittsburgh with me, and we got to do an extra. Oh, Lee Daniels is doing it. It's supposed to be on Netflix. It's not out yet.
Oh, okay.
But Tasha Smith was in it.
Okay.
And she is such a lovable person. She is so bubbly. I'm like, all that ghetto-ness is not
that's
her
the one from Tyler Perry.
Yes.
She's a director, isn't she?
Yeah, and she has a twin sister too. But she was just like, all right, now, I know we ain't rolling cameras, but ain't God good? We like, yes, hallelujah. She is so down to earth. I loved it. She was hot and everything, still drinking. She's like, it's hot up in this church. Oh. She said, well, we're going to get through it, okay? Amen, amen, amen. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, remember, ain't you happy? She was like, I said, okay, she's not much help. I said,
I'm over here a kid in a candy store, my daughter acting like the parent.
No, seriously, but at least she got to experience it. She got her first paycheck.
Oh.
So she was able to do that. And she's like,
that's awesome.
But then she got to learn about taxes.
Yeah.
She was like, wait,
hold on.
I made all this money, but they took out how much? That's not fair. I'm like, it's called life.
Welcome, baby girl.
But no, I do love acting. It is a part of my personality. Even I act through my dancing and my dance ministry with the Divas at church. I'm very theatrical. It's it's
always
in me.
Been.
Oh, literally. You can push me over. I mean, you can push me like this. I fall to the ground. Chatiqua, oh, you hurt me. Oh my God. And they're like, girl, whatever. My sister knows. She knows I'll sit there and fall on the ground in a heartbeat. She's like, Chatiqua, did you really have to trip like that? Yes, I did. So, but I love it. I will eventually. Everyone keep telling me, too, you need to be in Tyler Perry shows. I'm like, one day, we'll get there. We'll get there.
It's gonna happen. Listen,
yeah, it'll get there. And when they do, don't call my phone. You can call me. You can call me.
But I hear you. Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. Okay. Because that's how it's about to be when we both
both of us.
We're going to be taking pictures together. And
we're like, we remember when. We was up in this studio doing her podcast.
Exactly.
People
and I got
on
a show
Facebook.
And she's a award-winning actress. Okay.
Actress and still entrepreneur out here doing it. They thought Riri was doing it with the makeup. Come on now. I'm coming with the child care and the acting.
Let me get this comment real quick. Then we have been on here, by the way, for an hour and 32 minutes.
Oh my goodness,
come on.
crazy.
So Stella Johnson, who is my grandmother, she said, blessings to you, Chatiqua. Thanks for sharing those personal and heartfelt experiences in your life. Wishing you the very best that God has in store for you. Davina, you are being a divinely gracious host for this awesome conversation. Thank you, little nanner. So I always like to ask, and I know we could go probably all night, but I want to make sure I want to respect your time. So I always like to ask though, with you talking about being an actress and even you said being shy and things like that, I always like to ask my divine guest this question though. And it's, what does confidence mean to you? And I feel like with you being an actress and things like that, and even a business owner, you have to have some level of confidence. So like, what does that look like for Chatiqua?
Confidence for me is awareness. Being aware of me. Mm-hmm. Being able to like be aware of knowing when I'm upset or when something's not going right, to where I have to reevaluate and, pull back and say, okay, hold up. We can't do this now. And, or me constantly doing something over and over. And I'm just like, oh my God, now I know how to do it. Now I can walk in a different way because I know. Yeah. So awareness and knowing is what confidence means.
That's good. Woo, I ain't never heard that. That's a good one right there. Okay, I might use that too. Oh, confidence is being aware. Awareness. That's good. Okay, wisdom. This wisdom. Let me see. Wisdom. Megan, she said, be doing the most. See, I told you. Listen, I remember high school with her dramatic self, so it didn't surprise me when she started doing acting stuff.
Listen. That part I do the most. Yeah. She know me.
That's your second mama. She know. Listen. So another question, just, as we're talking about this journey you've been on, I always like to ask, like, what would you tell young Chatiqua at this age with everything you've been through, everything you've seen, everything you've learned? Like, what would you tell her?
Keep going. I will literally tell her, keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. And when God speaks, listen.
Listen. Okay.
Listen, child. Listen. So if the Spirit tell you, don't move, don't.
Yeah. Move. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Because I literally feel like I've been telling myself, just sit still. Just sit still.
No, seriously. We so quickly want stuff to happen so fast. Like, because we are microwave society. I feel. Yeah. Like, we want to that.
Yeah, and it's getting worse, especially with like, even they were talking about how like people with their phone, like watching TikToks and Reels, like they only watch one for like not even 3 minutes, like 3 seconds, like, and then it's on to the next. So that's so true. And I don't want to get off of here. I have to, because I'm like, oh Jesus, we really could go just all night. Like, but I want to definitely highlight you as a mom.
Thank you.
And your baby girls, right? You have 2 baby girls.
Yes, so my April babies.
Yes, they're both April babies.
April 16th and April 19th. Okay. About to be 13 and 4.
Oh, so tell me how that is. You want to shout your baby girls out?
Shamir and Romary.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So how is it on this journey you've been on with raising 2 young queens? Like, how is that?
Oh my gosh. It literally is a journey. A journey that I'm like, man, when they say you gonna get it 10 times worse than what you gave your mama, who they didn't lie.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They didn't lie.
I know.
But I'm like, I don't feel like I had that type of a mouth. Like, I know I had a mouth, but I don't feel like it was that bad. Because again, social media plays a part.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. Like, my girls, I feel like they resemble me and my sister. Like, I can see that closeness with them, even though, the oldest, of course, she's like, oh my God, you get on my nerves, get on my rim. Yeah. Like, I know that's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, if it didn't, I would actually be terrified. Yeah. I'll be like, okay, what's going on?
Like, what's going on? You supposed to be not liking me too much all the time right now.
Excuse me. No, like, seriously. But I love it because, like, they both, I see a little of me in both of them. And that's like, I just look at them and I'm just like today my daughter's walking. I'm like, oh, you're so dang beautiful.
Oh,
I was like, you are so beautiful. And you're so special to me. You're amazing. Like, oh,
yeah.
I don't even know what's about to be in store for you, but I can't wait. And they're like, my youngest one, I look at her. I'm like, oh, and look at you. Oh my God, you give me 2 beautiful babies. I was like, I don't want to do it.
Blessing.
No, seriously, it's like, it's not that I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It's a difference.
Listen, I get it.
But I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's like, again, like I said, I was meant to have those two girls. They were meant to be in my life, and I wouldn't trade them.
Yes. Motherhood is a beautiful thing.
It
for
really
sure.
is.
So before I let you go, I always like to leave the throne. I can't wait to have like my own studio when I'm having throne chairs, and I can really say that. It is. I have a few announcements before we get off of here. But I always like to leave room for you to kind of say whatever you feel on your heart, maybe that I didn't ask, or anything what you want. Promote your Nila's dream daycare, whatever you want. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
All right, well, quickly, as everyone knows, I do have a daycare. We are currently hiring for full-time and part-time. If you're serious about it and you really want to work with children, you have a passion for it, please, I guarantee you will love it. Today I did meditation with my staff, with a professional, where we learned about stressors versus stress. And that's very important, even as a Black woman in today's America. Our mental state is very important. And I see that a lot of people will not do that for their employees, but I care not just for my employees. I care about the children and the parents. I even did one with the parents. We had a yoga day with the parents and the kids. And next we're about to have a Tiffany Boykin's going to come and do massages for the mothers for Mother's Day. So I literally care. I put my all into what I do. I love what I do. I love the children, but we are doing that. But also we're going to be doing a raffle for Nila's Dream Daycare Center, because I want to build in. I want to expand.
Yes, come on,
so building. We're going to have a Wellness Day raffle, where you will get a meditation mixture combination of yoga, sounds, all of that for an hour, and a 1 hour full body massage. The tickets are on sale. I'll post it again.
Yes, and then I'll put it in the show notes.
And on mine. Yes. The tickets are, you get 5 tickets for $10, and then $20 you get 15 tickets. So buy a ticket, do what you have to do to support, so we can expand. Expansion is what I want to do.
Come on, expansion is coming.
But
it's coming.
One thing I want to leave with everyone: believe in yourself first.
Yes.
Invest in yourself. We invest into these 9-to-5 jobs. We give them our all in all. You can still invest in yourself, whether if it's 5 minutes a day that you're doing it. Still take time for yourself. I'm not talking about getting the hair and the nails done. I'm talking about doing those stretches that you need, the pelvic floors for after we have our children, reading, sitting there and just getting back to who we are and finding who we are. Take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, who gonna take care of us? Who gonna take care of our kids when we're gone?
Yeah.
So do that now. Like I said, I don't care if it's 5 minutes a day. Take care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time. I always like to give my flowers to my divine guests. So just thank you for sharing this powerful journey you've been on and being vulnerable and open to sharing with us. And I hope that this inspires someone else or encourages them. And just, I love you, my triplet, and just everything you're doing. And I just support you, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. And just thank you for your time, and just thank you for just your wisdom too, because you was dropping gems. You're welcome. You're welcome. So everybody who was on, y'all were in the comments tonight, so I appreciate it. I hope that everybody was able to get something out of this, be inspired, help with your healing, whatever it was that, Tiqua talked about. Chatiqua, I call her Tiqua, but Chatiqua talked about. Just, I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I know I did. A few things, like I said, I had to touch on. So I haven't really been too vocal about a lot of things that are going on, but Divinely Crown'd officially has their own office. Woo! So that's something that I literally within this Divinely Crown'd will be 5 in December, and I was like, by my 5-year anniversary, I want an office space to help with coaching, where I'll be giving all my Divinely Crown'd coaching sessions at. Yay! So I'm so excited about that. I'm very happy about that. So if you are interested in getting confidence coaching from yours truly. Reach out, get on my website, DivinelyCrown'd.com, and come connect with me. I do a 30-minute free connect call or conversation. It could be in person or virtually. So just make sure you continue to stay tuned and, on this journey with me. I will be putting all the information in the show notes from Chatiqua tonight. And yeah, so let me see. Megan said one more thing and then we're going to get off here. She said, develop your relationship with God.
Yes. Definitely, Megan. Yes.
If you don't know him, you better get to.
Exactly. Get on it. Get on it.
Yes. So once again, I just thank you all that tuned in, who will tune in later. And remember, until next time, you are divinely crowned.
Yes. Thank you, girl.